Professor Google here again. Perhaps now you are ready to start entering some data into the Excel spreadsheet. To do this, you must first know how to do the text entries, and then the numeric entries, and then dates and calculations. Watch now as my video expert shows you how to do these things.
Now that you've seen how to move around the worksheet, let's have a look at actually putting some data into the worksheet. If you want to put something into a cell, first of all you have to select that cell. Now of course you can do that by using the mouse, or you can use it by moving the cursor keys until you've highlighted or selected the cell that you want to put the data into. So here we are in the D1 cell. We can put in various sorts of information. First of all, let's have a look at putting in some text. So if I type in my name and enter, we now have some text in that cell. Let's have a look at some characteristics of the system in this area. We have an autocorrect, for instance. If I type something in and misspell it, a very common one is the word "the," and enter, the autocorrect actually picks that up and corrects it for us. Now those autocorrect features are controlled under the Tools Autocorrect command. And here you can see the sort of corrections it will make for you automatically. In fact, you can go down through that list and add your own in if you wish. You can also turn that option off by saying don't replace text as you type. And notice, for instance, we have these sort of changes with some characters. Bracket C bracket would give us a copyright symbol, and a few others in there as well. Let's cancel out of here and just see that one in operation. So bracket C bracket and enter, and we have a copyright symbol. Let's have a look now at putting some numbers into the worksheet. So for instance, we can type in a number such as 1, 2, 3 and enter that. Notice the difference here between numeric entries by default and text entries, in that the numeric entry is right justified and the text entries are left justified. We can change that, as we'll see later, when we look at formatting the worksheet. I'd now like to look at a special sort of number entry, and that's a date entry. Now of course dates are specific to different countries, so let's see how we can set up your machine properly for your particular country. You need to go down to the Start menu and to Settings and bring up the Control panel. In the Control panel we can go down to Regional Settings, double click, and now we could set the correct settings for your particular country. We'll stick with English Australian, and what that does is it sets a whole lot of parameters, including our date formats, so they'll be correctly set up for our country. So now let's click OK, close off the Control panel, and we can now proceed to put in some dates. So if I put in a date such as 20th of the 3rd, 97, and enter that, notice the effect up here on the formula bar. Excel has changed the 97 to 1997, which confirms that it has recognised this as a date. Let's move down to the next cell and put in some calculations now. To put in a calculation, you start with an equal sign. And let's put in 2 plus 2 and enter. And now we see something fundamentally different to what we've seen before. Now, instead of seeing what we entered, we now see the result of that calculation appearing on the screen. If we look up the formula bar at the top of the screen, we can still see the calculation. Let's now look at the arithmetic operators that can be used in calculations. Of course, we have plus to do addition. We also have the minus sign to do subtractions. When it comes to multiplications, there is no multiply sign as such. We use the asterisk symbol. For division, we use the slash key. And we can also carry out exponentiation, raising numbers to powers using the little caret character. This is a little more unusual than the others, and probably most of you won't be using that particular operator. And finally, we also have brackets or parentheses that can be used to group calculations. We'll see shortly what this is all about. Let's now look at some of those other calculations. Let's try a subtraction. Equals 3 minus 2. Gives us 1, as we would expect. Let's try a multiplication. Equals 3 times 5 to give us 15. And let's try a division. Equals 12 divided by 3, which gives us an answer of 4. Now, let's try something a little bit trickier. Let's say we put in equals followed by 1 plus 3 multiplied by 2 plus 4. Now, what's the answer to that calculation? Does it mean 1 plus 3 is 4, multiplied by 2 gives 8, plus 4 is 12? Let's enter it. No, it gives an answer of 11. Why is that? Well, it's because there is a hierarchy of calculation. Multiplies and divides are always done before add-ups and takeaways. So it means that we first of all do 3 times 2 to give us 6. Add 1, which is 7, add 4, which is 11. Now, if you want to control that calculation process, you can use the parentheses or brackets. If what we really meant was to take 1 plus 3 and multiply that by 2 plus 4, we can add in brackets to change the sense of the calculation. So let's put a bracket in front of here and over here, and also group the 2 plus 4. Now that makes it very clear to Excel exactly what we mean, because parentheses, always the calculation within parentheses will be done first. By the way, notice that we've used the round brackets from the very top of the keyboard. We haven't used the curly brackets or the square brackets, which are further down in the keyboard underneath. Now let's have a look at a calculation which involves a cell reference. Here we're getting into the real power of Excel and spreadsheets. We really don't do the sort of calculations that we've been carrying out in most spreadsheets, just using pure numbers. What we do is we use cell references to refer to other results or input data in our worksheet. So let's say I wanted to have a calculation which involved the contents of the D4 cell. I can type in a calculation which says equals, I refer to the cell D4 in upper or lower case, it doesn't matter, and then I can add 10 to that and enter. So that means go up, take the contents of the D4 cell, add 10 to it and show me the result. Now the beauty of that is that when we make a change to the D4 cell, we automatically get a recalculation of our D11 cell to give the new result. And that, as I say, is really what spreadsheets are all about. That's their real power, to be able to automatically carry out our calculations for us as our input data changes or the other calculations in the spreadsheet change. Now, with all of these calculations, what we might like to do is put in some comments which document what we've been up to. Quite often we'll put in complex calculations or we'll put in data which is based on certain key assumptions. And if you want to make that clear to other people who look at the spreadsheet, we can add in a background comment to document that. To do that, click on the cell with the right-hand mouse button, go to Insert Comment. Notice it's all automatically documented with my name, so that anyone else who sees this, so when I pass the spreadsheet on to them, will see who put the comment in. And now I can just type in whatever I want to do. I can say perhaps record sales, and that then gives us some documentation. If I click on another cell, we no longer see that comment, and as soon as I pass my cursor across that, we see the comment appear. So it appears with its documented name.
Back again. I hope you now know how to enter the data into a spreadsheet. If you are still unsure, perhaps you should watch